everyone, welcome to Beauty First in 10. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. My name is Debbie, and today we're going to be covering the best of the best as far as sweat-proof foundations. Now, I tested all of these for sweat, heat, and humidity while working outside at my job, which is in the South. And I tested all of the products, and I'll put pictures up here, and I tested all of these at least twice. Once with primer, powder, and setting spray, and a second time without those things, but most of these were tested many times, and sometimes I would test one side of my face with the primer, powder, and setting spray, and one side without. That way they were exposed to the same amount of heat and humidity. Now, I will say that my skin is dry, and so if you have oily skin or combination skin, then some of these recommendations may not work for you, but I will kind of mention where I think they would and wouldn't. And also too, the other thing to keep in mind is if you have these foundations on and you're sweating and you literally wipe it, there is literally no foundation that can overcome that. I don't care if it says it's transfer resistant or waterproof, you cannot put pressure and also wipe it off. So for most of these foundations, even though I was sweating, I just kind of didn't blot my head, didn't move, and then I saw at the end of the day whether or not that lasted or not. So that was kind of how we came to sort of this conclusion. Now, some of these products are known to be waterproof, sweat-proof, resistant to humidity and heat, but some of these are not, but really just perform super well. So we'll kind of dive in and we'll go from light coverage to kind of full coverage. So today we're going to start with the light coverage ones. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury Unreal Skin Tint Glow Stick. This is a very sheer product, but I really enjoy this product and have been surprised by how much I really enjoy this. It gives a nice glow to my skin, which is dry, so I do enjoy this. But I found that this looked good even on the hottest days, which was surprising because it was kind of a hydrating stick, and I didn't have high hopes for this product. I will say this did perform better when a powder was also a combination with it, but overall it was good even on its own. Also in kind of that sheer coverage foundation is the Natasha Denona High Glam Powder Foundation. Now, powders in general are always going to perform better in heat, humidity, and sweat than a liquid product will. So if you have a different powder foundation at home, you might want to try that as well because you might find that you have really good success. But this was a real standout for me, and I actually started using this as my finishing powder, as the powder part when I was testing other foundations because it works so well. And then lastly, kind of in the sheer coverage foundation is the Kosas Dream Beam in Sunlit. Now, I know this is a sunscreen, and so you're like, sunscreen doesn't count, Debbie. But this was SPF 40, and I started using this as, you know, kind of underneath on days that I was just like, oh, I just got to put sunscreen on, I'm going to be outside. And then I noticed that it really started to work. I will often use this as my foundation, and then I'll put concealer underneath my eyes and kind of over any red spots I have. And this surprisingly worked well. So also too, if you just want a sunscreen product to put underneath of your foundation, then also keep this one in mind. Now, as we move to kind of the light to medium coverage formulas, then a surprising one was the Win Beauty. This is a brand that's made by Serena Williams, and this is Featuring You Skin Enhancing Skin Tint, and this is SPF 30. So the Kosas was SPF 40, this is SPF 30, but this also looked good. Even on the hottest days, I found that this product really kind of kept my skin really looking good. This has been a surprising product overall because I've really enjoyed it. It just always makes my skin look good, and that also held up even during the heat. Now, I will say for the products that I was using the most for my primer, powder, and setting spray, for the primer part, I was using the Milk Cloud Glow Primer. This is the one that kind of foams up. This is hydrating, and I really enjoyed this, and so I tested it out on the first couple foundations just to make sure it would work, then used it for almost all of these foundations. For powder, I was mostly using the Urban Decay All Nighter powder, and this is waterproof. It's just a nice translucent tone, but this was a really good powder, and I've used this before, so I thought, okay, well, I'll use this as my powder. And for setting spray, I most often used the Milk Makeup Pore Eclipse setting spray. This one was really good, and I knew it was gonna kind of mattify some of these foundations, so I used this one. In the kind of medium coverage category, I had two real standouts. So one of them is new. This is the new Fenty product, and this is their Soft Lit Luminous Hydrating Longwear Foundation. I just recently picked this up and thought, well, let me quick test it and see how it does, because it does say it's longwear, it does say it's both heat and humidity and sweat resistant. So I thought, well, let's just kind of give this a try. I was very pleasantly surprised by the wear time on this one. So even though this one is new, I would definitely check this one out. And then also in the medium category was the Urban Decay Face Bond. This one is also sweat and heat and humidity resistant. And this gave kind of a matte coverage, whereas the Fenty one gives kind of more of a natural or a very slight glow to it. The Urban Decay Face Bond was really matte, and this really held up in all conditions. And this is actually what I have on today, and it's what I almost always default to wearing to now when I'm going to be outside. And then in the full coverage category, the KVD Long Wear Serum Foundation. This is transfer resistant and it's supposed to be waterproof. This one was great. It didn't matter how much I sweat. This one was a real standout for me. For blush and bronzers and other kind of colored products, I will say as far as the bronzer category, I had two stands out. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Bronzing Serum. This is what I actually have on today, and this one has performed well. I wasn't really very hopeful for a lot of these bronzing drops that they would hold up, so I was really surprised about this one. The other bronzing drop that did really well is the Cali Ray Sun Drop Skin Boosting Peptide Serum Bronzer. This one also had pretty good wear time, although, you know, not as much as the powdered bronzers did. So for powder, the Kosas, the Sun Show, and I have this one in Beachy, this was excellent. This really holds up, and in general, your powders are gonna do better, but I just wanted to give you those two options because they were pretty good. And then as far as blushes go, I had really good luck with the KVD Blush Bomb Duo. This is a cream blush, and I have this one in Red Meadow, and I'll show you the colors here. So you've got Thorned Apple and Immortal Apple, and this cream really did have some long wear power, even on those hot days. Now in the powder category, you're gonna have a lot of choices because powders are gonna perform really well, but I'll give you one that was a real standout for me, and this is by Lawless, and this is the Make Me Blush, and this is the color Indian Summer, and that is just the perfect color for summer, and that's actually what I have on my cheeks today as well. I found this one was long wearing, as most powders will be, but it just looked really good at the end of the day, and it really just did have that kind of summer vibe to it. Hopefully everybody found some products that they can use to look beautiful, put together, matte, and just absolutely lovely for the rest of summer. And I will put links down in the description box down below of all the products that we talked about today. And I do buy all of these products with my own money. I do not receive any sponsorship. And so if you choose to use those links when you purchase, then I want to thank you for supporting my channel. And I will put two other videos over here that I think you'll enjoy. If you've enjoyed this one, please give a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Happy shopping.